The morning started like any other at Research Station Kepler 442. Hyunwoo Kim walked through the quiet corridors, checking security systems and weapon storage areas. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floors. The station felt peaceful, almost boring. Scientists worked in their labs while security teams ran routine patrols. So-Jin Park sat at her workbench in the weapons maintenance room. She cleaned rifle parts with careful movements. Her fingers moved over each piece like she knew them personally. Tools lay organized in perfect rows beside her. She had been working on the station's defense systems for 3 years. Every weapon was her responsibility. The research station floated in empty space near the edge of human territory. It was far from Earth, far from help. 200 people lived and worked there. Most were scientists studying strange rocks and alien plants. Only 20 were security personnel. Hyunwoo led one of the 4 security teams. At exactly 800 hours, alarms began to scream throughout the station. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Commander Dongmin Lee's voice came over the communication system. His words were calm but urgent. All personnel to emergency stations. Unknown ships approaching. This is not a drill. Hyunwoo ran to the command center. Through the large windows, he saw them. 5 massive ships moved toward the station like giant metal sharks. They were black and covered in strange spikes. Each ship was 3 times larger than the research station. Their hulls seemed to absorb light itself. So-Jin heard the alarms from her workshop. She quickly locked away her tools and grabbed her service rifle. Her hands moved without thinking, checking the weapon's condition. The rifle was clean and ready. She had made sure of that every single day for 3 years. In the command center, Commander Lee tried to communicate with the approaching ships. The main screen showed static and interference. Then suddenly a face appeared. It was not human. The alien stood nearly 3 meters tall. Its skin looked like living crystal, blue and white patterns moving under the surface. 4 eyes stared at them from a head that seemed too large for any neck to support. When it spoke, its voice sounded like breaking glass. "I am War Commander Thaxel of the Vorthak Empire. You will surrender your station immediately. Your species will submit to Vorthak rule or face extinction." Commander Lee stepped forward. He kept his voice steady and diplomatic. "I am Commander Lee of the Terran Research Station Kepler 442. We are peaceful scientists. Perhaps we can discuss this situation." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "There is nothing to discuss. Your primitive species has expanded too far into space that belongs to the Vorthak Empire. You will surrender now, or we will take your station by force." "We are not warriors," Commander Lee said. "We study plants and rocks. We mean no harm to anyone." War Commander Thaxel made a sound like grinding metal. It might have been laughter. "Your weapons mean nothing to us. Your technology is like toys compared to ours. You have 60 seconds to surrender, or we will demonstrate why the galaxy fears the Vorthak Empire." The communication ended. The screen went black. Commander Lee turned to his officers. "All security teams to defensive positions. Evacuate non-essential personnel to the emergency shelters. Send a distress signal to Earth." Ji-Hai Choi worked frantically at the communication station. Her fingers flew over the controls. "Sir, they are jamming our long-range communications. No signal can get through to Earth or any other human colony." Hyunwoo gathered his security team. There were 5 of them, including himself. They had rifles, sidearms, and basic body armor. Against 5 alien warships, it seemed hopeless. But they had taken an oath to protect the station and everyone on it. So-Jin joined them in the armory. She handed out ammunition and checked everyone's weapons. Her movements were quick and efficient. Each person received exactly what they needed. No wasted motion, no unnecessary words. Through the station windows, everyone could see the alien ships moving into attack formation. They were beautiful, in a terrifying way. Energy crackled between the spikes on their hulls. Weapon ports glowed with purple light. 60 seconds are up," Commander Lee announced over the station communication system. The lead Vorthak ship fired a single beam of purple energy. It struck the station's main shield generator. The protective barrier around the entire station flickered and died. Lights dimmed throughout the facility as power systems overloaded. War Commander Thaxel appeared on the screen again. "Your shields are gone. Your weapons cannot harm our ships. This is your final chance to surrender." Commander Lee looked around the command center. Scientists huddled near their stations. Security personnel gripped their weapons tightly. Everyone waited for his decision. "We cannot surrender," he said quietly. "If we give up, they will enslave or kill everyone on this station. Then they will move on to other human colonies." Sojin stood near the back of the command center. She caught Hyun-woo's eye and nodded once. Her expression was calm and determined. They both understood what was coming. The alien commander saw their silence as defiance. "Very well. You have chosen extinction over wisdom." Two smaller ships detached from the main fleet. They moved toward the station's docking bays. These were boarding craft built to carry alien soldiers directly into the station. Purple energy surrounded their hulls like armor. "Boarding parties incoming," Ji-hai reported. Two ships heading for docking bays 7 and 12. Commander Lee divided his security teams. "Hyun-woo, take your team to Bay 7. I will handle Bay 12 with my team. Remember, they think we are primitive and weak. Use that against them." Hyun-woo led his small team through the corridors toward docking Bay 7. Sojin walked beside him, her rifle ready. She had modified the ammunition earlier that morning during routine maintenance. The bullets were now armor-piercing rounds, designed to punch through tough materials. As they reached the docking bay, they could hear the alien ship connecting to the station. Metal scraped against metal. Atmosphere hissed as the airlocks sealed together. Heavy footsteps echoed from the boarding tunnel. Hyun-woo positioned his team behind cargo containers and maintenance equipment. They had good cover and clear fields of fire. Sojin found a spot where she could watch the entire docking area. Her rifle was steady in her hands. The airlock door opened with a loud hiss. The first Vorthak soldier stepped through. The first Vorthak soldier was massive. It stood almost 3 meters tall and wore armor that looked like black metal scales. Its crystalline skin glowed with blue light beneath the protective gear. 4 eyes scanned the docking bay while it held a weapon that hummed with purple energy. Behind the first soldier, 3 more aliens stepped through the airlock. They moved in a perfect line, each one exactly 2 meters behind the next. Their formation was precise and military. They expected to find cowering humans ready to surrender. Instead, they found silence. Hyun-woo waited behind a large cargo container. His team was spread across the docking bay in hidden positions. Sojin crouched behind a maintenance panel 20 meters to his left. Her rifle was aimed at the lead alien's neck joint, where the armor looked thinner. The Vorthak soldiers advanced, slowly into the bay. Their leader spoke in the same glass-breaking voice they had heard earlier. "Humans of this station, present yourselves for processing. Resistance will result in immediate termination." No one answered. The aliens looked confused. Their 4 eyes moved constantly, searching for targets. They were used to other species that fought in open battle with honor codes and formal challenges. Humans hiding in ambush positions was something new. The lead Vorthak pointed its weapon at a stack of AO supply boxes. Purple energy erupted from the barrel. The boxes exploded into burning fragments. The weapon was incredibly powerful, but the blast was too wide. It destroyed everything in a large area instead of hitting specific targets. Sojin watched carefully. She noticed that after firing, the alien's weapon glowed bright red. Steam rose from cooling vents along its sides. The weapon needed time to cool down between shots. This was important information. Hyun-woo made a hand signal that his team could see. It meant wait for his command. They would strike all at once when the moment was right. The aliens spread out across the docking bay. They were searching methodically, checking every possible hiding spot. Their movements were professional but predictable. They followed standard military procedures that worked against other alien species. But humans did not fight like other species. When the lead Vorthak soldier passed Hyun-woo's position, he struck. His rifle fired 3 quick shots at the alien's neck joint. The bullets punched through the thinner armor and dropped the massive creature. Immediately, his team opened fire from their hidden positions. Bullets came from 5 different directions, at once. The remaining aliens tried to respond, but they did not know which threat to face first. Sojin fired at the second alien's weapon. Her armor-piercing rounds struck the purple energy chamber. The weapon exploded in the alien's hands, sending crystal fragments across the bay. The creature stumbled backward, injured, but not dead. The third alien fired its weapon at the cargo container where Hyunwoo had been hiding. But he was no longer there. While the weapon charged up for its shot, he had moved to a new position 15 meters away. The purple energy blast destroyed empty metal boxes. The fourth alien tried to retreat toward the airlock. It wanted to call for reinforcements from the ship, but Hyunwoo's teammate Jaemin was waiting. He had moved into position behind the alien boarding tunnel. 3 shots to the back of the creature's head ended its retreat. In less than 30 seconds, all 4 Vorthak soldiers were dead or dying. The humans had taken no casualties. They had used speed, surprise, and knowledge of their own territory to win against superior technology. Sojin immediately moved to examine the alien weapons. She wanted to understand how they worked before more enemies arrived. The purple energy weapons were powerful, but had serious weaknesses. They overheated quickly, took time to charge between shots, and could not adjust their blast radius for close combat. Meanwhile, Jihai's voice came over the communication system. Team 7, report your status. 4 hostiles eliminated, Hyunwoo replied. No friendly casualties. Team 12 also successful, came Commander Lee's voice. But we are detecting more boarding ships approaching. They are sending larger forces this time. Through the station windows, everyone could see 6 more alien ships detaching from the main fleet. These were bigger than the first boarding craft. They would carry many more soldiers. Sojin finished her quick examination of the alien technology. She picked up one of the intact weapons and several energy cells. Her engineering training told her these could be useful if she had time to study them properly. We need to move, Hyunwoo said. His team quickly gathered alien weapons and ammunition. They could not stay in the docking bay. More enemies would arrive soon, and this position would be surrounded. As they moved through the station corridors, Sojin worked while she walked. Her hands moved over the alien weapon, finding release catches and power connections. She was learning how to take it apart. The cooling system is external, she told Hyunwoo quietly. If we can damage those vents, their weapons will overheat and shut down. Hyunwoo nodded. This was exactly the kind of information they needed. Sojin always found the weak points in any technology she examined. They reached a defensive position near the station's main corridor intersection. From here, they could control movement between the different sections of the facility. Hyunwoo positioned his team while Sojin continued studying the alien technology. Commander Lee's voice came over the communication system again. All teams, be advised. We are intercepting alien communications. They are calling this situation impossible. They expected us to surrender after the first demonstration of their power. Jihai added her analysis. The aliens are reporting to their fleet commander that humans fight without honor codes. They say we ambush instead of meeting them in open battle. Sojin looked up from the alien weapon she was dismantling. They do not understand guerrilla warfare. They expect formal battles with rules and honor. Good, Hyunwoo said. We will give them more of what they do not understand. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors. The second wave of Vorthak soldiers was boarding the station. There were many more this time. The aliens had learned that humans would not surrender easily, but they had not learned the most important lesson about human warfare. Humans did not just adapt to their environment. They made their environment work for them. Sojin finished taking apart the alien weapon. Now she understood exactly how it functioned. More importantly, she knew how to make it stop functioning. The real fight was about to begin. The second wave hit the station like an earthquake. 12 Vorthak soldiers came through each docking bay. They carried heavier weapons and wore thicker armor. Behind them came something even worse, massive mechanical suits that barely fit through the station corridors. War Commander Thaxel's voice echoed through the station's communication system. The aliens had taken control of some speakers. Humans, you have killed our soldiers through cowardice and dishonor. Now you will face the true power of the Vorthak Empire. Surrender now, or we will destroy this station completely. Commander Lee responded from his defensive position. We will never surrender to invaders who threaten innocent people. The alien commander made that grinding metal sound again. Then you will all die like the primitives you are. Explosions shook the station. The mechanical suits were using their weapons to blast through walls and doors. They were not trying to capture the facility anymore. They wanted to destroy it level by level. Hyun-woo watched from his position as purple energy beams cut through the corridor ahead. The mechanical suits were too big to move quickly, but their weapons could reach anywhere in the station. His team could not fight them in open combat. So Jin had been working frantically with the alien weapon she had captured. She had figured out how to overload the energy cells. When they exploded, they created enough force to damage even heavy armor. We need to move deeper, she told Hyun-woo. These upper levels will not be safe much longer. Hyun-woo agreed. He signaled his team to fall back toward the maintenance sections. These areas had smaller corridors, lower ceilings, and lots of pipes and equipment. The mechanical suits could not follow them there. As they moved through the station, explosions followed behind them. The aliens were destroying everything systematically. They had given up trying to capture the facility intact. The maintenance levels felt like a different world. Emergency lights cast strange shadows between massive pipes and electrical conduits. The air was warm and humid from the life support systems. Water dripped from condensation units. So Jin immediately saw the possibilities. Look around, she said to Hyun-woo. Everything we need to fight back is here. The maintenance areas contained chemical storage tanks, electrical systems, compressed air lines, and emergency supplies. In the right hands, all of these could become weapons. So Jin began collecting materials while Hyun-woo mapped the area. The maintenance tunnels connected to every part of the station. They could move anywhere without being seen. More importantly, they could reach places where the aliens would never expect an attack. The mechanical suits need power, So-jin explained, as she worked. They have thick armor, but they must have cooling systems and power cables. Every machine has weak points. She was building something with spare parts and chemical containers. Her hands moved quickly and confidently. She had been an engineer before becoming a weapons specialist. She understood how machines worked and how to make them stop working. Ji-hai's voice came through their portable communicators. All teams, the aliens are calling for orbital bombardment. Their ground forces are taking too many casualties. This was bad news. If the alien ships started firing from space, they could destroy the entire station in minutes. But it was also good news. It meant the ground battle was not going as the aliens had planned. Hyun-woo and So-jin worked their way through the ventilation system toward the main power distribution center. If they could cut power to certain sections, the aliens would have to move through darker areas where ambushes were easier. Along the way, So-jin placed her improvised explosive devices at key structural points. She had learned exactly where to put them for maximum effect. When they exploded, they would bring down support beams and block corridors. They reached a junction where several large pipes crossed overhead. Through a maintenance grate, they could see Vorthak soldiers moving through the corridor below. The aliens were searching for humans, but they were looking in the wrong places. So-jin had finished building her weapon. It was a compressed air launcher that fired the overloaded alien energy cells. When the cells hit their target, they exploded with tremendous force. She aimed carefully through the grate at the lead alien soldier. The energy cell flew silently through the air and struck the creature's chest armor. The explosion threw the alien backward into its companions. Immediately, Hyun-woo dropped through another grate behind the confused aliens. His rifle fired rapidly at the exposed joints in their armor. The creatures were caught between two attacks and could not respond effectively. In 30 seconds, 6 Vorthak soldiers were dead. Hyun-woo and So-jin disappeared back into the maintenance tunnels before reinforcements could arrive. They repeated this tactic throughout the lower levels. Strike from unexpected directions, eliminate enemies quickly, and vanish before counterattacks could be organized. The aliens had superior technology, but they were fighting in an environment designed by humans for humans. Commander Lee coordinated similar attacks from his position. Every security team was using the maintenance systems to move around the station, unseen. They had turned the alien systematic advance into a deadly maze. War Commander Thaxel's frustration was clear in his communications to the fleet. These humans fight like vermin. They hide in walls and strike from shadows. This is not honorable warfare. But the Vorthak Empire had conquered dozens of species. Their tactics worked against enemies who fought with honor and formal battle plans. They had never faced an enemy that made the battlefield itself into a weapon. So Jin triggered her explosive charges in sequence. Support beams collapsed, blocking corridors and trapping alien soldiers. Emergency systems activated, filling some areas with fire-suppressing foam that blinded the aliens' sensors. The mechanical suits found themselves stuck in debris-filled corridors. Their powerful weapons were useless if they could not reach their targets. By the end of the day, the situation had completely changed. The aliens controlled the upper levels of the station, but they were paying a terrible price for every meter of ground. The humans had shown that superior technology meant nothing if you could not use it effectively. And they were just getting started. 3 days had passed since the alien invasion began. The Vorthak Empire expected to control the research station within hours. Instead, they found themselves fighting a war they did not understand. War Commander Thaxel stood in the temporary command post his soldiers had established in the station's main laboratory. Dead Vorthak soldiers lay covered by sheets throughout the facility. More than 60 warriors had died in 3 days. This was supposed to be a simple conquest of primitive creatures. "Report," he demanded from his communications officer. "Sir, we control 40% of the station's upper levels, but the humans continue to attack from areas we have already cleared. Our soldiers report that cleared corridors become dangerous again within hours." The war commander's 4 eyes burned with anger. "How is this possible? We have superior weapons, superior armor, superior numbers." "The humans use the station itself as a weapon, sir. They move through maintenance tunnels, ventilation systems, and service corridors. When we destroy one path, they create another." Down in the maintenance levels, Hyunwoo and Sojin had become something the galaxy had never seen before. They moved through the station like ghosts, appearing wherever the aliens felt safe, striking without warning, then vanishing completely. Sojin had spent 3 days turning everything around her into weapons. Chemical cleaning supplies became acid bombs. Electrical cables became tripwires connected to overloaded power cells. Even water pipes became weapons when she filled them with compressed gas and metal fragments. Hyunwoo had mapped every meter of the station that the aliens could not reach. He knew 17 different routes between any 2 points. He could appear behind enemy lines, eliminate targets, and disappear before the aliens knew what had happened. They worked together, without speaking. When Sojin needed covering fire, Hyunwoo was already in position. When his weapon needed maintenance, she had tools ready. When she required a distraction to place explosives, he created exactly the noise she needed, at exactly the right time. On the morning of the 4th day, they decided to take a greater risk. Instead of just defending and harassing, they would attack the alien command post directly. The laboratory where the aliens had set up their headquarters was heavily guarded. 12 Vorthak soldiers protected the entrances. 2 mechanical suits blocked the main corridor. The war commander believed his position was completely secure. He was wrong. Sojin had discovered that the laboratory was connected to the station's main air recycling system. Large ventilation ducts ran directly over the command post. The ducts were big enough for humans to crawl through, but too small for Vorthak soldiers to follow. She and Hyunwoo entered the ventilation system 3 levels below the laboratory. They crawled through darkness, following blueprints that Sojin had memorized. The ducts were cramped and uncomfortable, but they provided perfect concealment. It took 2 hours to reach the position above the alien command post. Through ventilation grates, they could see War Commander Thaxel planning his next assault. Alien officers stood around holographic displays showing the station layout. Sojin had brought special equipment for this mission. She had modified several alien energy cells to create an electromagnetic pulse when they exploded. The pulse would disable all alien equipment in the room without permanently damaging the station's systems. Hyun-woo positioned himself at a ventilation grate that overlooked the room's entrance. He would eliminate the guards while Sojin disabled their communications and computers. They waited until the aliens were focused on their planning session. War Commander Thaxel was explaining how they would use orbital bombardment to destroy the lower levels where the humans were hiding. Sojin dropped her electromagnetic pulse device through the ventilation grate. It landed silently behind the alien commanders. 3 seconds later, it exploded with a bright flash of electrical energy. All the alien equipment went dead immediately. Holographic displays vanished. Communication devices stopped working. Emergency. Lights flickered and failed. The room was suddenly dark and quiet. Before the aliens could react, Hyun-woo dropped through his ventilation grate. He landed behind the guards at the door. His rifle fired rapidly in the darkness. The aliens could not see to aim their weapons properly. Sojin dropped down beside the main communication station. Even though it was disabled, she began planting explosive charges that would destroy it permanently. The aliens would not be able to coordinate with their fleet for hours. War Commander Thaxel drew a personal weapon and fired blindly into the darkness. Purple energy bolts illuminated the room briefly, showing him that 2 small humans had somehow infiltrated his secure command post. "Impossible," he said in his glass-breaking voice. "You are primitive creatures. You should not be able to reach this location." Hyun-woo's voice came from the darkness near the door. "You make too many assumptions about what we can and cannot do." Sojin finished placing her charges and moved toward the equipment storage area. She wanted to capture alien technology that could be useful later. The war commander tried to activate emergency lighting, but the electromagnetic pulse had damaged those systems too. He was trapped in darkness with 2 humans who could see better than his people in low-light conditions. "Your soldiers are brave," Hyun-woo continued, moving to a new position. "But they fight like they are on parade. Perfect formations, predictable tactics, no flexibility." More aliens tried to enter the room, but they could not see the tripwires that Sojin had placed across the doorway. Explosions knocked them backward, into the corridor. "We fight differently," Sojin added from somewhere near the equipment storage. "We adapt. We use everything around us. We turn your strengths against you." The war commander realized that his command post was completely compromised. He tried to retreat toward the emergency exit, but Hyun-woo was already waiting there. "Your invasion is failing," Hyun-woo told him. "Your soldiers die while ours survive. Your equipment breaks while ours keeps working. Maybe you should consider surrender." War Commander Thaxel made the grinding metal sound that meant anger. "The Vorthak Empire does not surrender to primitive species." "Then you will keep losing soldiers until your fleet commander decides this station is not worth the cost," Sojin replied. They had accomplished their mission. The alien command structure was disrupted. Their communication with the fleet was cut off. Important equipment was destroyed or captured. Hyun-woo and Sojin climbed back into the ventilation system and disappeared. By the time alien reinforcements restored lighting to the laboratory, the humans were already 3 levels away. War Commander Thaxel stood in his ruined command post, surrounded by dead soldiers and broken equipment. For the first time since the invasion began, he wondered if the Vorthak Empire had made a serious mistake. In space, the alien fleet watched their ground forces struggle against an enemy they had expected to defeat easily. Other species across the galaxy were monitoring the battle through their own spy networks. The mighty Vorthak Empire was being held off by 200 humans on a remote research station. The news was spreading. War Commander Thaxel had made his decision. After 5 days of humiliating defeats, he would personally lead the final assault. The Vorthak Empire's reputation could not survive much more embarrassment from primitive humans. He gathered his elite guard, 20 of the finest warriors in the fleet. They wore the best armor, carried the most advanced weapons, and had centuries of combat experience. If they could not defeat the humans, no one could. The target was the station's central command center where Commander Lee had established his headquarters. If they could capture or kill the human leadership, the resistance would collapse. Down in the maintenance levels, Hyunwoo and Sojin knew the attack was coming. They had been monitoring alien communications through captured equipment. This would be the biggest battle yet. Over 5 days of constant fighting, they had developed something that amazed even their fellow humans. They moved like two parts of the same person. When one needed something, the other provided it before being asked. When danger appeared, they responded as a single organism. Commander Lee positioned his remaining security personnel throughout the central section. 14 humans would face 21 elite alien warriors plus War Commander Thaxel himself. The odds were terrible, but they had been terrible from the beginning. Remember, Commander Lee told his people over the communicator, we are not trying to win a fair fight. We are trying to survive and make them pay for every step. Sojin had spent the morning preparing for this battle. She had created specialized ammunition for different types of alien armor. Acid-tipped bullets for the standard crystalline hide. Explosive rounds for mechanical equipment. Electromagnetic pulse bullets to disable alien weapons temporarily. Her workbench looked like an artist's studio, with different types of ammunition organized in perfect rows. Each bullet had a specific purpose. She had even color-coded them so Hyunwoo would know which type to use against different targets. The aliens came through the central corridor in perfect formation. War Commander Thaxel led from the front, his personal armor glowing with built-in energy shields. His elite guard followed in precise patterns that had worked against hundreds of other species, but they were not fighting other species. They were fighting humans. The battle began when the aliens reached the first defensive position. Commander Lee's team opened fire from concealed positions, but their bullets barely scratched the elite armor. These were not regular Vorthak soldiers. War Commander Thaxel laughed with his grinding metal voice. Is this the best you primitives can do? Your weapons are useless against true Vorthak warriors. That was when Hyunwoo and Sojin entered the fight. They appeared from a maintenance hatch behind the alien formation. Sojin immediately assessed the enemy armor types and selected appropriate ammunition. She loaded her rifle with electromagnetic pulse rounds and fired at the aliens' weapon systems. 3 Vorthak warriors suddenly found their energy weapons dead. Before they could switch to backup equipment, Hyunwoo was among them with close combat weapons that Sojin had modified with alien technology. The aliens tried to respond, but something strange was happening. The two humans moved like they were reading each other's thoughts. When Hyunwoo's rifle ran empty, Sojin slid a fresh magazine across the floor without looking. It arrived exactly when he needed it. When her position was about to be overrun, Hyunwoo appeared with covering fire, before she called for help. When his weapon overheated from rapid firing, she handed him a replacement before he realized he needed one. War Commander Thaxel watched in fascination and horror. The two humans communicated without words, anticipated each other's actions, and supported each other with perfect timing. It was like watching a dance, except the dance was deadly combat. How do they coordinate so precisely? He asked his aide. They are not using communication devices. They barely look at each other. Sojin noticed that 3 aliens were trying to flank their position. She selected armor-piercing rounds and moved to intercept them. Hyunwoo saw her movement from the corner of his eye and immediately shifted to cover her previous position. Neither of them spoke. The elite Vorthak guard began to falter. They had trained for centuries to fight disciplined armies in formal duels. They had never faced opponents who fought as if they shared the same mind. When Sojin needed to reload, Hyunwoo was already throwing her a fresh magazine. When he needed a distraction to change positions, she created exactly the right explosion at exactly the right time. When both of them needed to retreat, they moved together without discussion. War Commander Thaxel realized that his elite warriors were being systematically destroyed by 2 humans who seemed to know what each other was thinking. It should have been impossible. Focus all fire on those 2, he ordered. They are the key to human resistance. 10 Vorthak warriors turned their weapons toward Hyunwoo and Sojin. Purple energy filled the air around their position. The concentrated firepower should have killed them instantly. Instead, they moved like flowing water. When energy bolts came from the left, they were already moving right. When explosions erupted, behind them they had already stepped forward. They seemed to know where every shot would go before it was fired. Jin rolled behind a support column and came up with a weapon that War Commander Thaxel had never seen before. She had combined alien energy technology with human engineering. The result was a rifle that fired bursts of electromagnetic energy, followed immediately by explosive projectiles. The electromagnetic burst disabled alien shields. The explosive projectiles penetrated their armor. 3 elite warriors fell in as many seconds. Hyunwoo appeared on the opposite side of the alien formation. While they were focused on Jin's position, he attacked from behind with modified alien weapons. His shots targeted the cooling vents that Jin had identified as weak points in Vorthak equipment. The battle became a deadly ballet. Jin would draw alien attention while Hyunwoo moved to a flanking position. Then he would attack while she repositioned. They flowed around the alien formation like water around rocks, never where the enemy expected them to be. War Commander Thaxel found himself the only alien left standing. His elite guard lay dead around him. 20 of the finest warriors in the Vorthak Empire had been defeated by 2 humans who fought without speaking to each other. "This is impossible," he said, his 4 eyes wide with shock. "Your species should not be capable of such coordination." Jin stood 20 meters to his left, her rifle aimed at his center mass. Hyunwoo stood 20 meters to his right, ready to fire if the alien moved. "You keep saying things are impossible," Hyunwoo replied. "Maybe you should stop making assumptions about what humans can do." War Commander Thaxel looked back and forth between them. "How do you communicate so perfectly without words? What technology allows such precise coordination?" Jin and Hyunwoo exchanged a glance. In that brief moment, they had a complete conversation without saying anything. They decided together what would happen next. "No technology," Jin said simply. "Just trust." The war commander did not understand. In Vorthak culture, warriors fought as individuals or followed rigid command structures. The idea of 2 beings operating as one mind in 2 bodies was beyond his experience. "Surrender," Hyunwoo told him. "Your invasion has failed. Your soldiers are dead. Leave this station and do not return." For the first time in his long military career, War Commander Thaxel considered surrender. The age of easy Vorthak conquests was ending. War Commander Thaxel knelt in defeat, his armor cracked and his weapons destroyed. Around him lay the bodies of his elite guard, warriors who had conquered a dozen worlds for the Vorthak Empire. All killed by 2 humans who seemed to share a single mind. "I do not understand," he said, his glass-breaking voice quiet now. "My warriors were trained from birth for combat. They had superior weapons, superior armor, centuries of experience. How did 2 primitives defeat them?" Commander Lee approached from his defensive position. His surviving security personnel followed, but they kept their weapons ready. The battle was won, but the war might not be over. "You want to know how they did it?" Commander Lee asked, gesturing toward Hyunwoo and Jin. "Watch them." The war commander looked at the 2 humans. They stood near each other, not speaking, but somehow communicating. Jin was cleaning her rifle with practiced movements. Without looking up from her work, she reached into her equipment pack and handed Hyunwoo a replacement part for his weapon. He had not asked for it, but she knew he needed it. Hyunwoo accepted the part and began maintaining his rifle. As he worked, he shifted position slightly so that he could watch the corridor behind Jin. She continued her work, confident that he was protecting her back. "They trust each other completely," Commander Lee explained. "When you trust someone that much, you do not need words to communicate. You know what they are thinking. You know what they need. You know how they will react." The alien commander watched this wordless interaction with growing amazement. "But they are different individuals. How can they act as one organism?" "That is what makes humans special," Commander Lee said. "We can form bonds that go beyond individual survival. We become stronger together than we ever could be alone." Jihai was monitoring alien fleet communications from her station. "Sir, the Vorthak ships are receiving new orders from their home fleet. They are being recalled immediately." War Commander Thaxel's 4 eyes widened in shock. "Recalled? But the mission is not complete." "Your mission failed the moment you underestimated human determination," Commander Lee told him. "Your fleet commanders, Know that. They are cutting their losses before they lose more ships and warriors. Through the station windows, everyone could see the Vorthak fleet preparing to leave. The massive black ships were powering up their faster-than-light drives. Soon they would disappear back into deep space. But the damage was already done. News of the battle had spread throughout the galaxy through the monitoring networks that every species maintained. The Vorthak Empire, which had seemed invincible for centuries, had been stopped by a small group of humans on a remote research station. War Commander Thaxel struggled to his feet, his armor servos whining with damaged motors. This defeat will not be forgotten. The Empire will return with greater forces. Maybe, Commander Lee replied. But next time, every human colony will be ready for you. We learn from our experiences. We adapt. We share knowledge with each other. Sojin finished cleaning her rifle and looked at the alien commander. Your people fight the same way every time. Perfect formations, predictable tactics, no flexibility. That works against species that also fight with rigid rules. But humans make our own rules, Hyunwoo added. We change them when the old rules do not work. We use whatever we find around us. We turn every disadvantage into an opportunity. The war commander was escorted to his boarding shuttle by human security personnel. As he walked through the station corridors, he saw the evidence of human adaptability everywhere. Improvised weapons built from maintenance supplies, defensive positions created from furniture and equipment, clever traps made from everyday materials. Most importantly, he saw humans working together, scientists helping security personnel, engineers modifying weapons, communications officers coordinating with maintenance crews, everyone contributing their skills to the common defense. Your species should not be able to do this, he muttered as they reached his shuttle. Keep thinking that, Commander Lee replied. It will make our job easier next time. The Vorthak shuttle departed, carrying news of defeat back to the alien fleet. Within hours, the entire invasion force had vanished into faster-than-light travel, heading back to their home territory. But across the galaxy, other species were having urgent discussions. The Korthani Assembly called emergency sessions. The Hexapod Federation activated their intelligence networks. The Silicon Collective began analyzing every piece of data about human military capabilities. If humans could defeat the Vorthak Empire, what did that mean for everyone else? On Research Station Kepler 442, life slowly returned to normal. Scientists went back to studying their rocks and plants. Engineers began repairing damage from the battle. Medical personnel treated the wounded. Hyunwoo and Sojin found themselves the subject of intense curiosity. Military analysts from Earth wanted to study their combat techniques. Psychologists wanted to understand their wordless communication. Weapons designers wanted to examine the modified equipment they had created, but they were not interested in fame or analysis. They continued their duties as security personnel, maintaining weapons and running patrols. When they worked together, they still communicated without speaking, still anticipated each other's needs, still moved like two parts of the same person. 2 months later, Ji-Hai intercepted a transmission from the outer colonies. Human settlements throughout the galaxy were requesting military advisors. They wanted to learn human tactical coordination, the fighting style that had defeated the Vorthak Empire. Word was spreading that humans had something special, not superior technology or advanced weapons, but something more valuable. The ability to work together, trust completely, and adapt to any situation. Other species tried to copy human tactics, but they missed the essential element. Trust could not be programmed or manufactured. It had to be earned through shared experiences and mutual dependence. Commander Lee received new orders from Earth. He was being promoted and transferred to the Outer Defense Command. His mission was to train other human colonies in the defensive, techniques that had saved Research Station Kepler 442. What about Hyunwoo and Sojin? He asked during his final briefing. They will be assigned to special operations, came the reply. There are situations developing throughout human space that require their particular skills. On their last day at the research station, Hyunwoo and Sojin prepared their equipment for transfer to their new assignment. They worked in comfortable silence, checking weapons and packing supplies. So-Jin handed Hyunwoo a spare magazine before he reached for it. He adjusted his position to cover her blind spot while she worked. Small actions, but they demonstrated the connection that had made them nearly unbeatable in combat. They did not know that their battle against the Vorthak Empire had become legendary throughout human space. Military academies studied their tactics. Training programs tried to recreate their wordless coordination. Their names were becoming known wherever humans gathered, but they did not fight for fame or glory. They fought to protect people who could not protect themselves. They fought because someone had to stand against those who would harm the innocent. As their transport ship prepared to depart, they stood at the observation deck looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, other threats were gathering. Other species watched humanity with new interest and new concern. The galaxy had learned that humans were dangerous when threatened. More importantly, it had learned that humans were most dangerous when they worked together. Hyunwoo and So-Jin would carry that message wherever they went. Not through words or speeches, but through actions. When the next crisis came, when impossible odds appeared, when hope seemed lost, they would be there. Two humans who needed no words to fight as one. The galaxy was watching. The galaxy was learning, and the galaxy was becoming a little more careful about threatening humanity.